talk building permits and zoning and ordinances for a minute. So, recently I got the concrete block skirting wall put in, and in doing so I left some openings for ventilation for the crawl space. I'm in a floodplain. I know this. I had to get flood insurance. I'm really far away from the creek. The neighbors said they've seen it touch the base of this house like once in the last 40 years. But I'm in the floodplain by like 20 feet. Like my neighbor's house up here is like kind of halfway in it. So when the building inspector was here recently, taking a look at the floor joists and saying everything was good over there, I asked him about ventilation because I had purchased, because I was in a floodplain, some flood vents. These allow ventilation for a crawl space, but they also hinge open if the water gets too high. They meet a lot of requirements. And I thought that's a good idea. I'll just put that in the in the openings. That way, if the floodwaters do come up, it'll allow it to kind of travel under the house. I'm sure it's not exactly modern code. This house was built a really long time ago. But honestly, I didn't really think much about it. So I asked the building inspector about where to put the vents, particulars, dealing with flooding and that kind of stuff. He said he didn't know anything about flooding, that I needed to contact a colleague of his. So I called the colleague, and she mentioned something to me which was not mentioned before, not by the building inspector when I first got my building permit. It's a FEMA requirement called substantial improvement, which states that if you renovate a house in a floodplain, that your renovation must have value less than 50% of your home value. So you can't spend more than 50% of your home value. So if your house is worth $100,000, your renovation cannot be more than $50,000. If it is, you then have to take your home and meet modern floodplain code. And modern floodplain code would be your house is above the floodplain by a foot and has the vents and everything. So what that would mean is if this renovation exceeds the value of half of this house, I would have to find a way to lift this entire house like 4 feet up into the air. There are companies that do that, I'm sure. But so, yeah, that was not a pleasant thing to hear. Obviously, this is an extensive renovation. I didn't think that it would possibly be, half the value of the home, but it's a lot. So, kind of panicked for a little bit. I was going to meet with the engineer, who's in charge of the floodplain stuff, yesterday morning, so she could come take a look and we could talk about it and options and things like that. Well, it turns out that like the night before, she broke her ankle, so we were not able to come out and meet. But she had spoken to the building inspector about it, and he called me, and basically I needed to do a in-depth breakdown analysis of my expected costs and send it to him, and then hopefully he'll be able to take that and talk to hers and be like, okay, so the expected costs are less than half and we should be good. We're not going to trigger this floodplain ordinance requirement and not require me to lift the house 4 feet up in the air. So that's what I did yesterday. I broke it all down, The value definitely landed below half the value of the home. You're also not allowed to count land value, by the way. It's just the value of the structure. So I'm waiting. This is Saturday, so I'm waiting until, I'm guessing, Monday. We'll hopefully figure that out. Of course, she's also got a broken ankle. You know, I don't know if she's going to be in the office anytime soon. Maybe he can just call her. One could hope. Because I'm kind of scared to continue working right now, right? Because like, what do I do? You know. So limbo. I'm telling you. So many things have flown at me with this house. It's just like I'm trying to get the work done, and it's like, oh yeah, but what about this? Like, this may stop you. Oh no. So yeah. But anyway, I'm over here today. I'm going to fix some mortar joints, let that dry, so that I can then fill in the concrete block. And I'm going to see how these vents fit into the spaces that were left for them. You know, these things, I believe they're supposed to be like a block of concrete underneath, and then the vent, and then there's the block above. Obviously don't have that. The concrete block is like just one course high, and it sits on like a footer. So I may have to do some working on that to make it fit, but I think I'll probably be able to do okay. I think the mortar joint that I'll put on the bottom will be enough for it. But anyway, I'm going to test this out, see what I need to do to those holes that I've left, because I may need to do some mortaring there to make sure these things fit in. These things are really cool, by the way. I mean, it's smart vent. It has ventilation with a what do you call it? A bimetal coil, and so that the vents actually open and close depending on the temperature outside, so that your crawl space can remain whatever temperature you need. Like in the wintertime, it closes off, so you don't get a bunch of cold air under your house. In the summertime, it opens up all the way. But it also has little float locks, so if the water comes up on a flood, the float lock will click, and then the whole thing will just hinge and just allow water and debris and stuff to flow right through. So I'm going to have two of them over on the side of the house closest to the creek, and then I'm going to have one here below me on the back, and then over here on this side, and then same on the other side of the house. So that gives plenty of flow through and cross breeze. I think that'll do a really good job. So yep. So let's see how this fits, and then I'm gonna get some mortar mixed up and get that stuff done, because I got some other stuff to do at my actual house today. So I'd like to get this done early. Yeah, so as expected, I'm going to need to put a thing of mortar down on the bottom. And that should fit in there nicely. I just need to clean it out a little bit.
Okay, wow, that was a lot more water in there than I realized. Not too much. So, it's going to make for a lot more. It's overwhelming my drill. Okay. Alright, so an update. Yesterday, I was able to get at least this front room, the cores filled on the blocks with the the concrete. Let's see what this one looks like now. Big hole here. Come on. Oh, I'm gonna have to knock that guy free. He's locked in pretty good. So sometimes there's little areas in between the blocks that's really hard to get to, like right there. So I kind of had to like stuff it in there. I think I'm gonna maybe try to use mortar on some of these because I just can't get to them. Otherwise, I might have to like try to fill them up with a spray foam just to fill in the gaps. There's one down here too that I couldn't get to. Right there. But otherwise going really well. So I got this far, probably about halfway. So today I'm hoping to get the other half finished up. See how long that takes, and maybe I can get some stuff done outside. There's some rain coming tomorrow, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get any of the sealer paint on the outside. Probably going to give that some more time to dry after I paint it on, so before it gets wet. So yeah, anyway, main goal today, finish filling the cores, and then clean up a little bit, see where I am, maybe try to get this one final cleanup as I get ready to put the plastic down in here. So moving slower than I want to, but moving. So, all right. Alright, so good morning. A lovely Friday late morning. So just an update. I have finished applying the tar coat to the concrete, basically catching the bottom mortar seam of the block, and then the concrete foundation top, just to let the water be able to run off of that and down if it ever gets there. I put the tar coat everywhere where dirt will probably end up being piled up back onto the foundation. I just wanted that layer. I've got most of it applied yesterday. I applied this strip this morning. And then all down this side, you can see where the dirt gets really high. I brought it all the way up to the top. So we have good dry weather for the next couple days, so that should give that plenty of time to set and dry. It's supposed to rain on Sunday morning, but it should have plenty of time to dry before then. It's a little thicker than I would like in some places, just by the nature of the concrete. You know, having to fill in all of the little pockmark holes, like over here. I got some areas that pull, so they'll probably take them a lot longer to dry, but hopefully they'll get set up in time before the rain comes to where it shouldn't be a problem. They got plenty of time for that. So yeah, and I'll go back through, you know, all the concrete above the ground. I have a primer sealer that I'll be putting on that in the future, probably after I finish doing the concrete around the other side of the house. Just go do it all at once. So it'll be good, a primer sealer, and then a probably a final coat of white, I believe, for the rest of that. But that part is done, so pretty satisfied with that. So yeah, next steps, you know, now that that concrete part is done, I mean, that means that I can kind of say that I'm finished with the concrete work, at least in this part of the house for now. So next steps today are to finish laying the plastic in here. I've got one last strip to lay down. I've got some light bulbs that I have hung underneath of the floor joist that I need to run some wire, put some bulbs in. You know, get that done before I seal this up. Then I'm going to go through, do one last cleanup. You know, clean up some of this excess foam that I've used as sealant, and make sure that all my joists are level again, because, like, you know, like over here it's gotten a little off level. It was maybe put that way in a little bit on purpose, but you know, that beam right there maybe sagged a little bit before I was able to get the third beam onto it. So anyway, maybe a little bit of tweaking to do on this now that everything's had time to settle. I just want to double check the level through the room, you know, fix it up if I need to, make sure everything is locked tight, and then it'll be putting in floor insulation and subfloor. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do that yet. I'm either going to just do all of the insulation and then do all of the subfloor, or I may kind of do it a piece at a time so that I don't, like, you know, have to tiptoe through here and try not to fall through insulation. Might be the easiest way to do that, honestly. So maybe I'll just start over here, insulate, and then bring the subfloor in, put it down, you know, screw it in place. Same thing over here, and just work my way this way. I think that's probably what I'll end up doing. But that will be really nice. So we'll see how far I get on that. But today is definitely getting completely to that stage. So looking forward to that part. All right. Another day, guys. Let's get to it.
Bye.